Hello, everybody. Welcome to another podcast session from Kimchi for Breakfast. Today, I need to start with a disclosure. We do have a nearby construction site that sometimes is doing very loud noises. Unfortunately, we cannot postpone this recording anymore. We have been waiting here for a while, but we cannot wait more. And my guest for today is so interesting person. I'm so delighted to have her with me today that I don't want to let this chance pass by, and I really want to have the questions done to her and to get and learn from her. So we must continue with the recording. We cannot hold this more. I would like to ask you for your understanding. Thank you so much for understanding us. We will do the best as we can. We will make sure that we will work on the sound in order to get the maximum quality that we can. Let's move on. My guest for today is from Turkey, woman, mother of 2 kids, wife, living in Seoul. Welcome, Emma.
Hello, Marisa.
Welcome, and thank you for joining me in this podcast.
Thank you for having me.
And I can confess to you that this podcast was very difficult to plan because I have so many questions and so many curiosities that I want to clarify regarding Turkey. That is such a rich country. It's located crossroads of Europe and Asia. It's the birthplace of a lot of civilizations like Hittites, Greeks, Romans, Byzantines, Ottoman empires passed through and dominate this area. The fact of being considered even a Muslim country is considered a birthplace of Christianism. What an amazing role that your country played in our human history. How this is possible? What do you have so special?
I think you summarized it very well, actually. And I've been really very lucky to travel a lot, to see different countries, different cities. But Turkey is unique by its location, by being the crossroad of religions, cultures, continents. Its history is extremely rich. And you can really feel the power of Byzantium, the soul of Constantinople. You have traces of big conquerors, emperors, sultans everywhere in the country. And of course of Atatürk, who transformed the country from being the Ottoman Empire into a modern republic. And the Bosphorus, I think, is really unique, where Europe and Asia meet. So I feel very privileged to be from Istanbul and to really witness this, like whenever I'm back to Istanbul. And on top of this, I think the weather is amazing in the country, especially in summer. It's a summer destination for me. You can really both enjoy the cultural aspect and the leisures. If you go like to a seaside city such as Bodrum, Antalya, they have a lot to offer for
Antalya
tourists.
is very crowded, isn't it?
In summer, yes.
The temperatures move between which values, more or less?
They must be around 35 degrees in
Wow,
summer.
it's hot.
Yes, but summer is very long actually. You can enjoy it from May to end of October. So you can also choose a little bit your temperature. Yes.
Yeah. What are some of the most important cultural values and traditions that you think that they are unique, singular, and make Turkey a different country?
So Turkey is really a country of traditions. So you probably heard already about the blue evil eye, the Turkish tea, the Turkish coffee, which are really part of the etiquette in Turkey. But another less known tradition is the hand kissing. So this is really, it's practiced during religious holidays, in weddings, in circumcisions, like those kind of occasions. So, young people kiss the hand of elderly and then they put the hand to their forehead. It's a sign of respect for them.
Circumcisions are tradition of your country or Muslim side?
It's mostly for Muslim countries, but I don't know how it is celebrated in other Muslim countries. But in Turkey, It's a big celebration. It's like a wedding. It's like a small
Yeah,
wedding.
I think that in the other countries also too. But if you are not Muslim, you also go for this procedure?
I cannot talk about all the families,
Yes, but majority of them, yes.
No,
I
like
know.
you
Okay.
know. So
This is my chance to do all my questions. So I also, I don't know if I already told you, but I need to ask you again.
Sure.
Is this true that when you have a guest in your house, you throw water when you leave?
It's true. It's how do you know about this?
I'm really fan of Netflix series, and I saw comic ones. The majority of them are very comic. I love it.
It's done actually when somebody you love, somebody of your family goes on a long trip. You just pour like a glass of water or a little bit bigger, like a bucket of water behind the car, just for them to have a safe trip and to come back home safely.
Another question. Is it normal that elders or old people complain a lot and discuss a lot with persons that they love? For example, in Portugal, when you got old, you complain about everything. I don't know, maybe in French also. I think French people also, we share the same path, I think. And in the Netflix series, the elders are always complaining with the daughters, with the sons, even if they are happy, they seem that they are not happy because they are complaining. Is it normal?
Yes, I don't know, but it's true.
I don't know if you understand what I'm telling.
I see what. I think it's the same in
It's
Turkey.
the same.
Yes,
It's a Latin
yes.
thing. I
Exactly. It's the Mediterranean side of.
Yeah, maybe.
They are not cold-blooded. This is what they are really hot-blooded people.
Yeah, exactly. So, Turkish food is truly delicious, super healthy. What do you recommend, like a must-try for anyone that is interested in your culture?
I like the seafood in Turkey, so I would recommend seafood and the appetizers called meze in Turkish. So this is really something I would recommend. Another thing I like very much is the simit, Turkish simit. It's a bagel made with sesame and sesame seeds. It's very crunchy. It's also chewy. And it's really my favorite breakfast when I'm in Istanbul.
I'm getting water in my mouth. So, is there any misconception or stereotypes about Turkey that you'd like to clarify?
Actually, I get very often the same questions. Is Turkish close to Arabic? Are women wearing a veil? Can you drink alcohol? So it's with all the love I have for Arabic countries, Turkey is not part of those Arabic countries. And Turkish is not similar at all to Arabic. They don't have the same alphabet. Turkish alphabet is Latin alphabet. And it's a republic. Turkey is a modern republic. Alcohol is not forbidden. And they are like, religion is a choice. It's not the law. And Turkish people, they just enjoy life and they are very friendly.
Yeah. Yeah, you got my point. Easy and fast answer. What is the capital of Turkey? Istanbul. I don't know why, and it's not.
It is actually the biggest city in the country. It's the really like number one city in the country, but it is not the capital. The capital is Ankara. It's in the middle of the country. It was chosen like by Atatürk, if I'm not wrong, because it was a safer place than Istanbul. Istanbul was easily attackable by armies, whereas Ankara was in the middle of the country, so surrounded by mountains, so it was more difficult to access Ankara rather than Istanbul.
How was it growing up in Turkey? How was your childhood?
It was very nice. I had a very nice childhood, but it was actually very ordinary. You know, I went to a French school, so I grew up in a very international circle with Turkish people, French people, international people. And I was spending my weekends like with my family doing sport or like in restaurants or with friends. So it was a very ordinary life.
And
actually.
in summer you returned, even when you were studying abroad, you returned to in summertime to Turkey?
Yes, because I left the country. Yes, I left the country like for my studies, for university, which was very common. It's still very common in Turkey. And I was coming back in summer to visit my family. So usually we didn't stay in Istanbul. Usually everybody goes like to a seaside city, or there are islands around Istanbul, they go there. So this is where we were spending our summers.
Yeah. Continuing with this subject, can you tell us about your journey as an expat? How do you live so far?
Yeah. Our journey as expats started really long ago with my husband, because as I told you, so after high school it was very common to leave the country to study abroad. So my husband went to the US and I went to Paris because my sister was already there, so I wanted to join her. And so my husband spent over 15 years in the US, and I lived in Paris for 18 years. And so when my husband came to Paris, we decided to move to the Netherlands. And after 5 years there, we were like looking for a new challenge, something like different. And Far East Asia was very attractive to us. So my husband got a job offer from here. So we only thought about the positive things about being in Far East Asia for us, for the kids. And we made the move, and we never regretted our choice.
Yeah, it's a nice, I found Seoul a really nice place to live.
Me too.
How long have you been living here?
So we've been here now for 2 years and a half.
Can you describe some main cultural difference that you encounter between Turkey and South Korea? How do you, how these difference impact in your daily life?
It's so before moving here, I knew that Turkish people always loved Korean people because they fought together during the Korean War in 1950. So there was already a love of Korea between Turkey and Korea. But ever since we moved, I really witnessed a lot of resemblance between the two cultures, from taking out the shoes off when you enter into a house, the school system, the respect of elderly people. So there are a lot of things that are very similar actually in the two cultures. And also the language structure, the grammar are very similar. And the languages are also sharing some very similar words, which you wouldn't think is possible. For example, the words for dumplings is mantı in Turkish, and it's mandu in Korean. And but the main difference maybe is really the taste of the food, not really like the way of life. The lifestyle is quite similar. But the spices they use here are very different from the spices used in Turkey. So here they would use more garlic, soy sauce, ginger, whereas in Turkey it's more thyme, cumin, red pepper. So it totally changes the taste of the same ingredients.
How many languages do you speak? You speak English, French, Turkish?
Italian.
Italian?
My mom is Italian. My mom is Italian and Belgian, and my father was Greek and Lebanese.
Do you speak Greek?
I don't. My mom does.
Really?
Very good, yes.
Wow.
Yes.
This is really a multicultural family.
Yes, we grew up in a very, very international
And you take the best of each?
I take a little bit of everything and I make my own, Like I grew up in Turkey, so of course I'm influenced by Turkish culture. But inside our home, it was a totally different story. So... I was calling it the Mediterranean house. It was really a mix of different cultures.
Raising a child as an expat can be challenging. You don't have no one, family around to help you. You need to deal with lots of changes, cultural changes. You need to answer a lot of questions. How was the experience been for you so far?
So I think growing up in a different culture leads sometimes to conflicts in terms of cultural identity, especially for children. But my children already had it before moving here. They are Belgian, they are American, they are Turkish. They were born in Paris, they were raised in the Netherlands, they moved to Korea. So whenever, for example, they have to draw a flag at school, they are confused. They are like, which one am I going to draw? So my daughter decided to say that she's French. So she says she's French. My son decided to say that he's Korean. So he says to everybody that he's Korean.
It will be interesting to later to watch him without Korean eyes, say, no, I'm Korean.
Yes, no, it's very funny. You know, when we moved, he had like those blonde curly hairs.
Ah, so yeah,
and he
typical
was
Korean.
saying, typical Korean. And he was saying, like, we were saying, where are you from? He was saying, I'm Korean.
Very proud.
Yes, very proud.
Are there any cultural or educational difference that you notice in your child experience that compare with what you might have expected in Turkey?
You know, Koreans have very high standards and they cherish challenges. So they are always trying to reach the maximum of their capacity. So maybe for this we are a little bit more laid back in Europe. So this was a little bit like new to us. But I must admit that in Turkey it's also a little bit similar. Another thing that I'm fascinated to see here is how children's birthdays are celebrated. It's really, parents really invest a lot in their kids' birthdays, which is also, it also exists in Turkey. So it's also, again, not unknown to us. But because we spend so much time out of Turkey, because we are more laid back on those things now. And another challenge I have in mind is really the integration process with locals. Language is a real barrier. So it's a barrier for me, but it is also a barrier for my children. And I see that some friendships, for example, are aborted because they cannot communicate.
Yes, true.
Or my children, expat children, cannot go to some activities, cultural things, because it's, again, in Korean, you know, or sometimes movies. Everything is in Korean, which is totally normal.
Yeah, of course.
We don't speak Korean. I mean,
exactly.
we are in country.
Korean,
so,
exactly.
But this is where you see the limit of being overseas. You know, it's not your language, so you have to adapt to them.
Yeah, of course. I just hear that 1 or 2 weeks ago, some hairstylists refused to cut hair to expats because of the language, because in the end, we complain that the hair is different and we ask for, but they don't understand. Yeah, and for an hairstylist, I think that it's very important that you understand what the customer wants.
Exactly.
So, but yeah, I recognize that some people already start to refuse. If you speak Korean, you can come in. If you don't speak Korean, you cannot.
Yeah, I think the language is the barrier number one here,
because it's totally different from Portugal and Korean. We don't have nothing in common. Nothing, even language, food, nothing. Totally different. Weather, totally different. So I already convinced myself that I need to stick with Korean classes while I'm living here. You know, if I live here 30 years, it will be 30 years of Korean, because I don't expect to be able to speak fluently, but at least you need to understand a little bit to speak with taxi drivers. For me, it's really difficult because they just drop you wherever they want. Like, here, it's okay. And I say, where am I?
Where am I?
What about your favorite things about living in Seoul? Aspects of Korean culture or lifestyle that you particularly enjoy?
I think Seoul has lots to offer. You know, concerts, exhibitions, everything, you know.
Have you been in a Korean K-pop performance show?
I've been. I'm unable to tell you the name, but I've been, yes. And I like doing concerts, actually. I do it with a very dear friend of mine here. So we usually go together, not specifically Korean K-pop concerts, but...
how was the experience?
It was great. It's very well organized, so it's...
very crowded? Full?
It is, yes, it's full, but it's so well organized that you don't, you know, on the exits, whatever.
And do you have these lights that they used to have?
No,
or
I don't.
No?
No, okay. Not us. But yes, Seoul has lots to offer, you know, in terms of hiking. If you like water, you can go to Han River, cycle, you know, like you can be really inside the nature, have wonderful views of the city. And I think it's a very safe place, actually. You know, people here are really, they would leave their laptops. I mean, I'm not teaching you something new. You already know it, you know. People would leave their laptops, their bags, go to toilet, come back, and they are sure that their stuff is still where they left it, you know. Like, it won't happen like everywhere in the world. You cannot do it in the Netherlands. You cannot do it in Turkey. Yeah. It would just disappear.
And on the flip side, have there been any major challenge that you face as an expat life? a part of the language?
No, it's mainly the language. You know, if I have to talk to a doctor, to the postman, to, you know, call to make a reservation for a restaurant, you know, like it's really small daily life issues.
So they don't impact so much in your life. You can
No,
overcome them.
Exactly.
Yeah. So many expats find important stay connect to their home country. Here you have a huge community. How do you maintain ties with Turkey? And are you integrated in the Turkey community here? Because it's big, the Turkey community.
I'm not at all integrated. I have a few acquaintances, I would say. They are not really friends, but I know them. But technology, of course, technology is a great help. You know, with my family, we stay connected through WhatsApp, through, you know, FaceTime, whatever, you know,
How many hours is the difference?
We are 6 hours ahead now.
Oh, okay.
6, 7, depending on the period of the year. And it's, we try to travel, of course, to Turkey twice a year. So when we go to Turkey, we say to everybody, to all our brothers, sisters, uncles, cousins, that we are going, so that everybody could meet. But of course, it's very difficult to have like aligned agendas with everybody.
You are going Christmas and in summer?
Yeah.
Seoul is known for its vibrant food scene. Have you discovered any Korean dish that you and your family have come to love, or you stick with the Turkish cuisine?
It's our children are a big fan of Korean barbecue. So, you know, we go to a restaurant, we order food for 4, and like those little kids, like they are 8 and 5, they eat it all. So it's really, really their number one food. So we now bought our own Korean barbecue at home, a new pan.
Really?
So yes. So kids are so excited about it. It's really the new attraction for them.
Wow.
But other than this, you know, I don't mind as long as it's healthy and it has like good nutrients for my kids, whether they eat Korean, French, Italian, I don't care, you know, it's as long as it's healthy for them.
Yeah, good choice.
And and if I have to order food, it's like really my go-to food, like lunchtime, for example. If we don't have time, whatever, I order kimbap usually.
It's my favorite also.
Yeah, I like beef and tuna usually. So the ones that I order.
Do you have any advice for other expat women who are considering a move to Seoul or for other big cities?
Oh, I think they should go for it. It's really a safe place. It's a nice place. Of course, you are always scared of where you put your feet. You don't know where you are coming, but it's a really big city. So they will find whatever they like here. So I would say go for it. It's a safe and nice place.
Our friends, they found it very dangerous when we decided to move here because of North Korea, and also our family. And still today, when my father knew about North Korea, he texts me in the same moment. But when they came here and to visit us, they recognized that it's completely different story being here and being in Europe, because in Europe every day they had got news about North Korea and South Korea, and here everything is calm, quiet, no one complains, no one...
Exactly.
Yeah, life is totally normal.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you have the same feeling?
Exactly.
They hear more than us
here.
How do you envision your future as an expat? Do you see yourself continuing to live here long term? Or
I see it, you know, as a nice parenthesis in my life. I think, you know, I don't know how long we will be here, but like I enjoy it 100% while we are here. I know, you know, I love Far East Asia, but I belong to Europe. So I know, like, at some point in life, in the future, I don't know when yet, I will be back to Europe, to a European city. And, but for now, you know, I just enjoy Seoul 100% and I love it.
You almost arrived. 2 years is just, you are fresh,
Still,
fresh new.
Exactly.
Fresh new. So finally, my last question. What do you eat for breakfast, if you eat breakfast? Or you can understand breakfast as break the fast, as does not matter what. So your first meal, you, your family, your son, your daughter, what do you eat?
Well, now it's different, but for a very long time, my breakfast was very ordinary, you know, like eggs and a coffee or yogurt with a fruit, something like this. And I give the same breakfast to my children. But if they would ask me something else, you know, I would most probably give it to them as long as it's in my healthy criteria. And it's funny because like last year when we were in Turkey, my son asked to my mom if he could get sticky rice and shrimps for breakfast, which we never have for breakfast, you know. and they are able to eat seaweed any time in the day, Mike. So this shows that they are getting influenced by the Asian culture, and I think it's a very nice addition to their development.
When I was in the hospital, when I got my surgery, I start my day with kimchi because in the hospital they gave me kimchi. And in the first day I skip it, second day I skip it, but in third day you are so hungry, so starving that you eat everything. Even
You start to like it, don't
yeah,
you?
exactly. Thank you.
Thank you.
So
Thank you
much
for
to
having
join
me.
me. Good luck for your future.
Thank you.
And for your family.
Thank you.
I'm sure that you will be collecting adventures as a foreigner for a while here or wherever or in another country. But it seems that in Asia you will be collecting more adventures.
I hope so.
It was so enriching time and pleasure time being with you. Thank you so
Same
much.
for me. Thank you. Thank you, Marisa.
Listeners, with this amazing and brighter future vision, we wrap up another Kimchi for Breakfast episode. If you enjoyed this episode as much as I did, please do not forget to subscribe, write a review, and share it with your family and friends. Your support means the world to us. And stay tuned for future episodes. Bye bye!